Now we look at verses 26 and 27. Daniel 9:26 and 27. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end thereof shall be with a flood, and unto the end of the war desolations are determined. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Note: repetition is generally an indicator of structure. Weeks. Week and week. These are all the occurrences of weeks, week. Desolations. Desolate. And desolate. These are all the occurrences of desolations, desolate. Determined. And determined. These are all the occurrences of determined. Looks like a repetition or parallel. So here is our parallel structure. Reading the text according to the structure. And after 62 weeks shall Messiah be cut off, but not for himself. And he shall confirm the covenant with many for 1 week. And in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. And the people of the prince that shall come shall destroy the city and the sanctuary. And the end thereof shall be with a flood. And unto the end of the war desolations are determined. And for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation, and that determined shall be poured upon the desolate. Note: I must emphasize the fact that all color-coded words, words with the same color, are underlyingly the same Hebrew. That is the words week, weeks, desolate, desolations, and determined. We shall ignore the bottom half of this structure for the moment and focus completely on the upper half. How do we know the upper half is a unit and deals with the Messiah, aside from the occurrences of week, weeks? Note the word be cut off. Also the word the covenant. These words are connected. The covenant which they had made before me, when they cut the calf in twain, and passed between the parts thereof. Jeremiah 34:18. The Hebrew words occurring here in Daniel 9:26 and 27, translated as be cut off and the covenant, are the exact same Hebrew words occurring in Jeremiah 34:18, translated as the covenant and cut. Daniel describes the ancient practice of making or cutting a covenant. This is what Strong's Dictionary says of the Hebrew word translated be cut off. Korath, a primitive root, to cut, off, down, or asunder, by implication to destroy or consume. Specifically, to covenant, i.e., make an alliance or bargain, originally by cutting flesh and passing between the pieces. This is the type of covenant described in Genesis 15, the first picture or description of the covenant practice given in Scripture, and describes the covenant made between Abraham and God. Interestingly, God is the only one that walks between the cut in two animals, perhaps signifying that he would take all the responsibility of the covenant on himself. So when Christ died on the cross, God was cutting a covenant with us, using the same ancient practice that had been used from the beginning of Bible times. But can't you see a certain beauty here? Yes, Christ is our sacrifice, but we live under the New Testament or covenant, so shouldn't there be a making of a covenant? Now you should be able to see that making of the covenant more clearly. But there is more. The text says, he, the Messiah, shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease. We read that when Christ died on the cross, Jesus said, "It is finished," and he bowed his head and gave up the ghost. John 19:30. It is finished? What is finished? Did not his death, his sacrifice, cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease? This understanding of Christ's cry is confirmed by the Scriptures. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. Isn't this what we just read about in John? And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom. Matthew 27:50 and 51. So Christ cries, "It is finished," and then the veil in the temple rips in two, letting all look into the most holy place, desecrating it and revealing the truth that God's dwelling, his seat, was no longer there. Notice some other connections that you may not have recognized before. Be cut off means to cut in two, as we saw in to cut a covenant. But this is connected to the midst, as in the midst of the week. The Hebrew for midst, ketsi, is derived from the primitive root ka-tsa, meaning to divide, cut in two. But there is another connection with be cut off. Our veil, of course, which is rent in twain. Now we need to look at verse 25.